Hey there, science explorers. Welcome to Shark Attack. This lesson, science explorers will investigate characteristics associated with a shark and experience a dissection of a dogfish shark. Our science vocabulary today is countershading, which is a form of camouflage that is usually dark on top, or the one that's facing the sun, and light on the bottom. And then we have denticles, which are scales on the shark's skin. And finally, cold-blooded animal. A cold-blooded animal is a type of animal whose body temperature changes with the temperature of its surroundings. So, for our introduction today, I'd like us to take a second and think about what do we already know about sharks, okay? And what I'd like you to do is be able to pause this video and turn and talk with some people around you or a neighbor about what do you already know about sharks. So pause the video and feel free to share with each other. Okay, welcome back. Here we go. Hopefully you had some really good discussions. Here's some other interesting things about sharks. Look, there's Data Dietrich over there in the corner as a shark himself. There are about 375 species of shark. Most live in tropic or temperate waters, although some have been found in polar regions. Sharks range in size from about a foot long to larger than a bus. Most are cold-blooded with the exception of the great white shark and the mako shark. These powerful and fast-swimming sharks have muscles twice as powerful as cold-blooded sharks. Almost all sharks are meat eaters, the exception being the plankton sifter known as the whale shark, which is the largest fish species and can grow to be the length of 40 feet. A shark has a special color pattern for camouflage. The top or the dorsal side of the shark is dark and the underside or the ventral side is light. This is known as countershading and gives the shark the advantage on prey below them. When viewed from above, the dark dorsal or the backside looks like the ocean floor. And when viewed from below, the lighter ventral side or the belly side blends with the sunlit water above them. Also, unique are sharks' teeth. They can never run out of teeth. Well, we get two, as humans, we get two pair. We get our baby set, and then we get an adult set. And then the only way you're getting other teeth is if you get fake teeth. Well, not sharks. Replacements are ready to move in when they lose a teeth. The teeth are in rows, folded into the jaw. Each time a tooth breaks off in the front, a new one moves up to replace it. A shark can go through hundreds of sets of teeth in a lifetime. Each shark has a different shape based on the food that they eat. Isn't that interesting? Sharks have 5 to 7 gill slits behind their heads, which filter oxygen from the water. The oxygen is absorbed by the blood in the gills and is transported to the rest of the body. A few sharks must keep swimming in order to breathe, so they need to swim to get the water to pass over their gills. The bottom-dwelling nurse shark is an exception. They suck in the water through spiracles, or a hole behind each eye, which are modified gill slits, and they pump it to the gills. Many other sharks use their cheek muscles to physically filter water through their mouths to their gills. This is called buccal pumping. Sharks are fish that have cartilage and no bones. Cartilage is the soft, bendy material that makes up your nose, right? So if you feel your nose right here, that's made out of cartilage. And then also your ears, right? This enables sharks to swim with a great deal of flexibility. Sharks are also fast swimmers primarily due to their streamlined shape and their tails. A shark's tail has 2 lobes that move side to side. The more even the lobes, the faster the fish. A great white shark can move as fast as 20 miles per hour through the water. Typically, sharks will cruise at an average speed of 1 to 2 miles per hour. The outside of a shark is covered with overlapping scales called denticles. They are made from the same material as the shark's teeth and thus are very rough, like sandpaper. You'll get to see that later on. To find food, sharks rely on their senses. The first senses they rely on are thought to be sound or smell. Scientists believe sharks pick up sound from as far away as 275 yards. That's almost 3 football fields. They then use their nostrils to bring water in to sample the smell. Before a shark attacks, they utilize a special electrosense, and the skin on the shark's snout is covered with these sensory pores filled with a substance called ampullae of Lorenzini. The sixth sense allows the shark to detect the faint electrical signals that living creatures emit. Few other animals have this electrosense, so that's pretty neat how they can actually sense it just through electricity because maybe they can't even see. So we're going to talk about baby sharks now. And as a little funny, I just put little baby sharks over there because everyone knows the song. I'm not even going to sing it because it's going to get stuck in your head and it'll get stuck in mine and then I'll be singing it all night. But baby sharks enter the sea one of 3 ways. A female shark will lay a fertilized egg into the ocean, and the egg is protected by an egg case. Or 2, a female shark will keep the egg case inside their body. The baby sharks hatch inside the mother, and most sharks are born in this manner. Okay, so that kind of sounds familiar, right? Or number 3, eggs do not have cases, and the fertilized egg simply grows into a baby inside the mother shark. A baby shark is actually called a pup. Most sharks have between 5 and 15 pups at a time. The gestation period can vary from 8 months to up to a year. Ooh, rough going for those moms out there. Mother sharks do not care for their young. Ooh, maybe that's why they carry them so long. Once a shark is born, it usually heads to shallow water for protection. Okay, so all of this information, which is very fun, brings us to activity number 1, where we're going to do the external dissection of our dogfish shark. Hey there, science explorers. All right, here we go with our external dissection of our dogfish shark. Now, before we go diving into our investigation here, I really want to stress the point that as science explorers and as scientists, the reason why we do dissections is to learn about an animal or a species or a creature. This is not a disrespectful thing. This is a learning tool. This is a learning purpose. So I don't want anybody making funny jokes about it or holding up a shark and doing silly things. This is a very respectful process. So please make sure that you're being mindful. Obviously, you see that I have my glasses on as my safety goggles, although the smell is getting like the fumes are getting to my eyes a little bit. Ooh-wee. I also am wearing my gloves, and here's our dogfish shark. So let's take a look at our dogfish shark right here. Donated to science. Thank you, dogfish shark. Here we have the external part of our shark. Now, we also have our little graph here that will help us identify different things on our shark. The very first thing that we can see is that when I run my hand over the shark, even with gloves on, I can feel the fact that this shark's skin is not smooth like you think it would be. It's actually kind of it's rough. Okay, believe it or not, a long time ago, shark skin actually used to finish pieces of wood, like sandpaper almost. It's not exactly as rough as sandpaper that you get nowadays, but it's definitely not as smooth as you think it would be for something that's a fish. Okay, so we have its skin that's nice and abrasive, if you will. Then we have on the top, you can see that it has its eyes. It has its eyes on either side there. So here's an eye, there's an eye. Okay, their eyes are actually really good for helping them hunt. Okay, here's their snout. You have to kind of flip her over to see her mouth is on the bottom half of her, right here. This is her jaw. That's what would open up to eat. Okay. Then we have its nostrils. We have its spiracles, right? And then on the side, you can see here are its gills. Now, a shark has to keep swimming to pass water over those gills to help it absorb its oxygen from the water. Here, these two pieces right here, those are what are called pectoral fins. Okay, and then on top, obviously, we have our dorsal fin. All right. We have to kind of flip her over to see our pelvic fins right here. Okay, our pelvic fins. Now, they cut the tail to try to get it easier to transport, but there's our tail, right? Now, this one is the posterior dorsal fin, so it has two fins actually, two dorsal fins. It has the front dorsal fin and the posterior dorsal fin, okay? And then back here, we have the caudal fin, okay? The top half of the caudal fin is usually bigger, okay? And this helps them swim and steer in the water, okay? Let's see. Let's see if we can kind of get the mouth open. We got to be careful with that though, because you don't want to hurt yourself here. But if you take a closer look, you can kind of see the teeth in there, right? There's its mouth, there's its teeth. They're sharp, so don't try to put your fingers in there. They will cut, okay? There's several rows of teeth, and they're, as we said earlier, sharks continually lose teeth, but that doesn't mean that they'll run out like us humans. They'll just move forward, and then it gets replaced. The funny thing, the neat thing is their teeth and their skin are made up of the same materials, and here is a couple examples of some shark teeth that are bigger than our dogfish shark teeth. All right, and those are kind of neat, right? The body, when you talk about the body, we talk about it in three different sections. We talk about the head, the trunk, and obviously the tail. Okay, so it has three parts of the body. We can locate our lateral line. Okay, our lateral line is actually where the counter shading occurs. The lateral line is, you'll see the difference between the dark top and the light bottom. Remember, they use counter shading to help get their prey. Looking down into the ocean, it's hard to see their dark. They blend in with the ocean floor or the dark ocean, and looking up on them from below them, their light side blends in with that light side of the sky. So that lateral line is right there. The lateral line is actually a sensory system that can detect vibrations in the water caused by animals and sounds. So the lateral line that runs along that counter shading there, that's one of those things that help them. Back here around, I believe it's around the spiracles, is where they have that electrical sensing ability in the water, where they can sense that electrical charge that living things give off. So that's neat as well. We already talked about the different types of fins that we can locate. The pectorals, the pelvic. The pelvic are right here on the bottom, right here. So here and here, okay. It's kind of hard to tell from here if this was a girl or a boy. I'm not quite sure. Actually, this might have been a girl. Are those babies? Those might be babies? Are those babies coming out of her? Do you see that? Yeah, those are definitely baby sharks. So this poor mom was child when she died. So there's the babies right there. Okay, so obviously this was a lady. So interesting, right? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to our next activity, which is our internal dissection. Now, on to activity number 2. This is where we get into it. The internal dissection. Okay, here we go. Activity number 2. We're going to take a look at our internal dissection of our shark. From activity 1, we saw that we had some interesting things poking out from our shark, and when I made an incision, I was able to remove them. And this was actually a female shark that was carrying 3 baby sharks at the time of her passing. So there we have that. Okay, to start our dissection, we're going to make sure that we have our ventral side up. Okay, and that means our lighter belly side. And what we're going to do is down towards the pelvic, we're going to make our incision, and we're going to start cutting. Now, what I'm recommending us do is to make sure we're pulling away when we cut. Okay, we don't want to cut too deep, or you'll cut our internal organs. If we go up the side towards our pectoral fin, okay, we can come up and cut there. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to cut across. So we're going to want to find that cut that we made. Okay. Clean it up a little bit. Sorry about that. And we're going to want to cut across the body now. Once we get up towards the pectoral fin. Again, making sure that we don't cut too deep, that we cut our organs on the inside. That would be bad. Okay? Cut deep enough that you get through it, but not too deep that you mutilate the organs on the inside. We really want to take a look at this for science purposes of, discovering the inside. Now, I watched a little bit of a tip the other day about dissecting our shark here, and what we can do is we can come down the other side and trim it off just so we can get a better look at the inside of our dogfish shark. Okay, so there we go. Now that we have an opening, all right, now we can see all our insides of our shark here. This is pretty interesting, don't you think? Okay, if we wanted to, we could probably cut up higher just to take a look a little further into our shark. Thank you, shark, for being part of our science and teaching us. There we go. Okay. Inside our shark, we see that inside the body, it's actually very oily. Okay? There's a lot of oil going on in there. And that's actually what helps keep the shark buoyant, because it doesn't have the thing that like spiny fish have, where they have like a stabilizing thing. Basically, sharks don't have that. This right here, these two pieces right here are its livers, basically, right there. Check that out. Okay. So we have our liver there and there. Okay. They're also oily. Everything in here is going to be a little oily. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we can identify here. Look like we have our stomach up here, right? This is part of our stomach. Okay. And was this, believe it or not, is this another baby? Very well could be. All these these fun discoveries we're finding. I'm wondering if I cut that open, if we'll find another baby in here. I'm thinking so. Another pup. Wow. There's actually a couple pups in there. So interesting. I'm going to pause the video and finish clearing out these pups, and then we're going to continue taking a look at what we got going on in our inside of our mommy here. Okay, we're back. I cleaned her up a little bit. I actually did have to remove 3 more pups from a sack in here. Back to it. We're looking at our liver again. Our liver's here. This is actually all part of the stomach right here. Okay, it goes from like the esophagus all the way down into the stomach. The stomach comes all the way down into the intestines. We got the spleen down here. It's pretty incredible. Now, to be able to get to our dogfish shark's heart, you actually are going to have to trim up a little bit, and I already did that. It took me a little bit, but I trimmed up with the scissors, and there is some tough cartilage in there that you're going to have to cut through, and then there's going to be some things that you have to cut through here to be able to lift this part up. But when you lift this part of our shark up, you can see that here's its ventricle, its heart, okay? And that's what's pumping the blood through our shark right there. So that's pretty amazing to see, right? It's right by the, like, you're going to cut out towards the gills to be able to get to there. And then this part is actually pretty hard cartilage right here that the scissors will actually be able to, the medical scissors will actually be able to cut through. But there's her heart, okay? Again, be careful around the mouth area, okay? When you're up there, try to keep your hands away from like the teeth because they are a little sharp right there. You can get caught up on it, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Okay, so that's our dissection of the shark. That's your general guidelines there. What activity number 3? Now it's your turn. Go ahead and try out your own dissection. What you're going to do now is you're going to go to activity number 3. And activity number 3, you're going to do your own dissection of what we just looked at together. You're going to be able to actually dive in and do your shark dissection. So make sure you take a look at your diagram. Will help you identify the different body parts. Do not be afraid to ask your Science Explorer instructors any questions, and really enjoy the scientific process behind this dissection of this really cool specimen. Okay? Remember, here at Science Explorers, if it's not fun, we're not doing it.